And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, when I had my resurgence about a decade ago into board gaming and found all these new and cool board games, and one of the games that really got my fancy was Bang. Bang was a really fun game because one person was the sheriff and everyone else might be an outlaw or a renegade or a deputy, and they had to convince the sheriff, and they shot at each other, they played bang cards and miss cards and all sorts of fun things. It was a really fun game, really cool game. As time has gone on, I have cooled a lot on Bang. Partially because I played some really bad games of Bang that have gone on forever. And just because, they had a lot of cool expansions, but each expansion kind of made the game almost unwieldy. And then a couple games came out that I thought did the same thing in a faster way, like Cash and Guns or Shadow Hunters. But then I heard about this game, and I was a little wary, Bang the Dice Game, which looked pretty small. 3 to 8 players, 15 minutes it said. And that was what caught my eyes. 15 minutes. Well, it's a dice game. Let's take a look at it and see what we think. In this game, each player is going to be secretly given a role card. You're always going to use the sheriff. And as time goes by, so depending on the number of players, you'll either have 1 or 2 deputies. You'll also have 1 or 2 renegades. And then you'll have 1, 2, or 3 outlaws. And again, different number of players, but you always have 1 renegade, 1 outlaw, and the sheriff. And then after that, you'll start adding in other things. Now, all these are mixed up, and each player is secretly given one. And whoever has the sheriff has to reveal themselves. So the player who has the sheriff shows himself. Everybody else keeps their role a secret. Players are also given a special character from a deck of different characters, and you can see each of these characters. Some of them are plays of famous people. For example, here we have Bart Cassidy, and we have Slab the Killer, and we have Kit Carlson, and Jesse Jones, and Willie the Kid. So each of these characters has a number of bullets on them, and you will take that many bullets. These bullets are essentially your life points. Each character also has a special ability that they can use throughout the game. You're also going to put a pile of arrows in the middle of the table, and these arrows will stay in the middle of the table. The player who is the sheriff gets 2 extra bullets because, well, it's good to have more life points, and the game begins. On a player's turn, they'll take these 5 dice, and these are really high-quality dice with the stuff that's engraved in them, different colors for the different symbols. It's really just a good set of dice, and you'll roll these dice. Now, this is what I call Yahtzee rules, in that you can say, oh, I like to keep that, I like to keep that, and I can re-roll these, and I like to keep this, and then you can roll one more time. And what will happen is you basically can re-roll your dice and keep re-rolling up to 3 times. So you have a chance to re-roll twice, with some rules to that. Dynamite is something you can't re-roll. So when you roll dynamite, you can't pick up that and roll. And if you ever roll 3 dynamite, like I just did, then the dynamite explodes. You lose 1 life point, you resolve the other dice, and your turn is over. You don't get to keep re-rolling. So you gotta be careful not to roll 3 dynamite. Also, when you roll an arrow, even if you decide to re-roll the arrow, which you probably will, you'll take an arrow. You've been shot by the Native American tribe. Now, as I said, there's only a certain number of arrows in the middle of the table. 9 of them, actually. And as you take these arrows, you're fine. But when someone takes the last arrow, then instantly everybody must put all their arrows back in the middle of the table and take that many points of damage. So if I had 4 arrows, when someone takes the final arrow, I would lose 4 points of life. So arrows and dynamite are things you don't want to roll. The things you do want to roll are the other symbols here. These 4. We have the Gatling gun, beer, and a 1 and 2 on the crosshairs. A 1 means you can shoot somebody who is directly next to you at the table. So if I'm sitting between Bill and Bob, I can shoot Bill or Bob with a 1. If next to Bill is Susan and next to Bob is Anthony, I can shoot Susan or Anthony with a 2. And so I just shoot them and they lose a life point. Beer allows me to gain a life point or somebody else. I can give it, maybe I'm the deputy and I want the sheriff to have the life point. A Gatling gun is nothing unless you roll 3 of them. If you roll 3 of them, you fire the Gatling gun and everybody loses life points. 1 life point each, except for you, and you also get to get rid of all your arrows that you have in front of you. So you can see that rolling 3 Gatling guns is the best. Now, as I said, these are fun to do, but people have different special abilities. So, for example, Susie here, if she doesn't roll a 1 or 2 crosshairs, she gains 2 life points. Blackjack can re-roll the dynamite, unlike the other players. Vulture Sam, anytime someone else is eliminated, you gain life points. And by the way, you can't go above your original amount. So even if you roll beer, you can't, go up to 50 life points. Here at El Gringo, when another player makes you lose life points, they automatically take an arrow. And Rose can shoot farther than 1 or 2. She can use a 1 as a 2 and a 2 as a 3. And so there's all various different things. Now, the game is going to end in different ways. If the sheriff loses his last life point and dies, then the deputies weep and the renegades weep because the outlaws have won. Unless, of course, every outlaw is dead. If every outlaw is dead and the sheriff dies, then the renegade or renegades, depending on the number of players in the game, then they win. So the renegades need to kill the outlaws first and then the sheriff, because if they kill the sheriff immediately, then the outlaws will win the game. The sheriff and the deputies will win the game when they take care of the outlaws. Getting rid of the outlaws will give the deputy and the sheriff the game, after, of course, also killing the renegades. So it seems like the sheriff and the deputies have a hard time, but if they can manage to turn the renegades against the outlaws and vice versa. And what makes the game very interesting is, of course, you don't know who anybody is. Just because someone tells you as the sheriff that you're your deputy, it may not be true, because every role is kept secret except for the sheriff. Now, even if you die, let's say 2 of the outlaws are dead, and then the 3rd outlaw manages to take out the sheriff, then the outlaws win, even if you're dead. Same with renegades, same with deputies. This game really impresses me with how simple it is. This is a game where you roll the dice, and yeah, bad things can happen. Your dynamite can explode, you can get chock full of arrows that the natives have shot at you, but it's just fast and fun. It really gives a strong, similar feel to another popular game called King of Tokyo. That is what I would consider this in the same family as. For me, this would really replace Bang. Now, I will say this. I feel like the deduction element of this one is not as pronounced as it was in Bang a little bit. You're rolling dice and shooting at people, and there's also not the cool thing of like, look, I just got a Winchester, thing that the original game had. That was a shotgun, not a Winchester. But anyway, it had some neat things that the original had, and because it was more sprawling, there was a lot more flavor maybe added. Here you're simply rolling dice and seeing what happens. But sometimes simply rolling dice and seeing what happens is fun, and this is the case. It has that push your luck element to it. Each character has a special ability, which is, they're all pretty cool. They're not like minor abilities, they're like really fun. Like I had a guy who could, the one guy who could re-roll dynamite one time. That's great. Hooray, dynamite's never going to hurt me. Or another time where I was the person who, when you shoot me, you get an arrow. I love that. That's just fun, and it's thematic. You can play it up. There's arguments. Everyone's trying to convince the sheriff that they are the deputy, and then everybody else is the outlaw. The renegade's trying to make sure everybody dies. Just like in original Bang, the renegade has a harder time of it. That's the way it's going to be, because he has to kill the outlaws first, and then the sheriff. But it's possible. And so everyone's pretending to be the deputy, everyone's rolling dice, it's shooting, and it really is a 15-minute game. With high-quality components, this Bang is gone for me. And this game is one I'm actually going to be keeping in my collection because I think it's a lot of fun. It's very easy to get into. Bang, the dice game.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.
Leave it open.